Ask Lori, a show designed to give a better perspective on relationships no matter what the circumstance may be. You can start, have, and keep unstoppable relationships. Lori Ann Davis can tell you how. Have questions? Need answers? Ask Lori.
Thank you for tuning in to the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte. This is Ask Lori, and I'm your host, Lori Ann Davis. Don't let love and passion get lost in your life. As your relationship specialist, I am here to share secrets with you every week, helping you create unstoppable relationships. Welcome to this week's show. I am so happy that you have joined us today. I'm here to help you find, renew, and keep love and passion in your life. Whether you're single or in a relationship, this show is for you. I bring you the benefits of 28 years' experience helping people create the relationships of their dreams, and I'm here to help you with yours. Do you have questions? I'm sure that you must, and I want to hear them. Email them to me at wgiv@asklori@gmail.com. That's Lori. Then be sure to listen in every week so that you can hear the answers to your questions. You can also listen to me on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. with Dr. Business, where we will be answering more of your relationship questions. Today we are discussing dating myths, and we want to thank our sponsor, Newton CPA. One of the most important elements of any relationship, personal or business, is trust. And when it comes to taxes, tax planning, Newton CPA has earned my trust. Trust not only to get advice, but for the help I need to use that advice. So for all of your tax needs, you're going to want to contact Newton CPA. I do. Their number is 803-810-0824. And today we're discussing dating myths. In my practice as a relationship specialist, I work with a lot of singles. And I also run a local meetup group called Successful Singles in the Charlotte area. One of the dating myths that I see a lot is the myth that what is on the outside is a reflection of what's on the inside. Sometimes I call that the packaging trap, where you feel that either you have to look or act a certain way in order to attract a partner, or you focus on the outside characteristics when you're looking for that special someone to date. Either one of these can leave you single and frustrated. It really is more about what's on the inside, and we're going to talk about that more later in the show. So stay tuned, because when we come back, we will continue our discussion on dating myths with our guest expert. You're listening to Ask Lori, and I'm your host, Lori Ann Davis. You've tuned in to WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte. Zippy Shell Mobile Self-Storage is the most convenient and affordable short and long-term storage solution in the Charlotte and surrounding areas. Call 704-323-4056. We are convenient. We deliver the storage containers to your door. You load it at your convenience. We pick it up and store it for you and return it when you are ready. Our facility is alarmed and climate controlled. Save time, save money, save everything with Zippy Shell. Call us at 704-323-4056. That's 704-323-4056. We are part of Premier Barter Exchange and are a family-owned and operated company. If you or a loved one are unable to venture easily from your home due to injury, illness, or disability, Compassion Salon Services can provide you with a rejuvenating hair salon service in the privacy and comfort of your own home. Please call 704-774-2204 for more information, or visit us on the web at compassionsalon.com. Compassion Salon Services for immobilized persons. We believe the enrichment of life lies through compassion for the soul. So call us at 704-774-2204. That's 704-774-2204 for your in-home salon services. Welcome back to WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte, and those streaming live through the free TuneIn radio app. You're listening to Ask Lori, and I'm your host, Lori Ann Davis. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing dating myths. But first, are you frustrated in the search for your soulmate? I can help. For more information, check out my website at lorianndavis.com. That's LORIANN-Davis.com. You can sign up for my newsletter. I have information that I will send you weekly to help you on that search for your perfect partner. And joining us in the studio today is Angela Kauffman, your 21st century relationship intuitive consultant. We are so excited to have you with us today, Angela. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We are going to talk today about dating myths. So why don't you start off by just giving us a brief introduction about who you are and what you do so the listeners know.
Sure. As you mentioned, my name is Angela Kauffman. I'm a relationship intuitive coach. And I started doing this because I had my own challenging experiences in the dating world. And I remember at one point after finding another relationship ending in a frustrating, heartbreaking way, I remember thinking to myself about those fairy tales where the woman meets a frog who's really a prince, and I was thinking, why do I meet all these people? I think they're princes and they're really frogs. And a voice of my inner wisdom replied and said, well, maybe it's because you're acting like a bug. And I realized that, you know, I can't point my finger and blame the other person, because obviously I'm doing something not only that attracts that type of person that I'm not happy with, but somehow I'm feeding into that. I'm feeding into the cycle of my own heartbreak and misery. So years later, I've kind of turned that process around for myself, and I've turned it into an intuitive coaching process for other women who are at that point where they know something is wrong because they keep getting what they don't want in relationships. So they kind of have that insight that there's something better out there, but they don't know how to go about finding it.
That's funny that you said that. I wrote a blog one time and it was called How to Find Your Prince Without Kissing Too Many Frogs. And now when I go to events, I have a little green frog that I actually set up at a display because of that. So we definitely were destined to have this conversation today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what is your most common dating myth that you encounter working with singles?
Okay, that's a great question. One of the biggest questions that women tend to ask, especially when they come for intuitive readings, they always want to know, like, the series of who is he, where is he, when will I meet him, and if I'm not there at the exact moment that you predict, am I going to miss him and be alone forever? And I think it's that whole train of thought that contains a lot of illusions and myths. Okay, first of all, it's not like there is this perfect person out there and all you have to do is meet that perfect person and your relationship is going to be super duper wonderful
You
forever.
ride off into the sunset, right? Yeah, the fairy tale ends and nothing,
Yeah, happily ever after doesn't start when you meet him. Happily ever after is, first of all, it's one day at a time.
Yes, something you create every day, yes.
Yeah, and it's a process that requires effort. And when women ask about who is he, where is he, when is he, what we're doing, and we don't intend to do this, but what we're unintentionally doing is we're putting the ball completely in his court. And we're saying, you know, it's all the guy's fault that all these other relationships didn't work, and if I just meet the, quote, right guy, then I don't have to worry about any of this, and somewhere in the world is this right guy who's going to be like the perfect pair of jeans that I'm never going to want to get rid of.
Right.
And what we don't see is that it's our own energy that, you know, attraction begins with us. Relationships, it begins with us and not with the other person.
Definitely. It definitely does. And if there was the whole idea that there's only just one person out there, then, you know, sometimes somebody like me who was in a very long-term relationship, and after 28 years, we did decide to go our separate ways. It was a phenomenally fabulous relationship. So if I believed there was only one person, that would mean that I would spend the rest of my life alone. And the guy that I have been with now for 3 years would be very disappointed because we're very happy together. So yes, There's not just that one. Talk to me a little bit about what you think is the most common love question that you're asked.
Well, one of the most common, or probably the most common, speaking of soulmates, so the most common love question that I'm asked is either is so-and-so, look, she has someone in mind, okay, is so-and-so my soulmate? Is he the one we're meant to be together? Or if there isn't currently someone in the picture, it's something along the lines of, where is my soulmate? How will I meet my soulmate? And again, this actually is a perfect segue from what you just shared, because it brings us back to this idea of the one person. And I believe that at one time, that was an appropriate belief. But one of the reasons that I refer to myself as a 21st century relationship intuitive consultant is that 21st century relationships are different. We have longer life expectancies. If we only live to be 50 or 60, okay, maybe you're only going to fall in love once. But when you're going to live to be 90 or 100, I hope there's more room in your life, because things happen, we evolve, we change, and sometimes we grow apart. And your soulmate doesn't have to be, again, it's not that one person that gives you the easy path relationship. It might be the person who challenges you the most. And when women want to just emphasize, where is my soulmate, where is my soulmate, I make that comparison to, it's kind of like if somebody is just starting out in their career in the early 20s and they don't want to apply for any job unless it's going to be like the corner office and the
job,
$1 million
right?
income.
Yes.
Right. So, okay, so what training are you getting? Not to diminish relationships, but we need all of the relationships we encounter because they contribute something to our lives. And to just say, well, if this person's not my soulmate, then I'm just wasting my time. I mean, that's very limiting.
Right. It is very limiting. I remember that when I was starting to date again, and I hadn't been, out dating for 28 years, so it was a very new experience for me. But I remember when I was doing that thinking, there are going to be different people out there, not just one that I'm looking for, but there could be different lives I could lead for this second half of my life. They could look different, but I could be equally happy probably in a number of situations. And when I had that attitude, that really broadened the horizons for who I could go look for and the possibilities of who could enter my life. And for me at least, I think that was one of my secrets to finding someone else after being in such a long-term relationship and now having a happy relationship. So yeah, that's not the best question to ask, of that, who is my soulmate? What would be a better question for people to be asking?
Well, the way I look at it in terms of attraction, I feel like we attract experiences, and those experiences arrive. The people are the vehicle for those experiences. Definitely. And karma and even the emotion, the love connection. So a better question to ask could be something along the lines of, what do I need to do or change to attract the partner that I'm ready for? And maybe it's not the super duper wonderful soulmate of your imagination, but it's the person who really is responding to your energy. Or what do I need to change about my own energy so that I'm not attracting the same type of relationship that I would really want to avoid?
Right, no more bugs.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's better to view it in terms of, what is the experience that this person, that I'm meant to get from this relationship? Not like, okay, I want like the, it's not a down payment on a house. Relationships are very, very volatile and insecure, and there's no guarantee, but we go about it with like this liability insurance mindset sometimes.
I love that. All right, talk to me about what you think is the biggest tragedy you see in relationships as a result of not really understanding how this whole attraction thing works.
Okay, so one of the saddest things that I see, it's not the length of relationship or the status, whether somebody gets married or if they're, partners or whatever. To me, the biggest tragedy is when couples start to disintegrate, when the relationship starts to fall apart, because couples don't see their own accountability. They kind of just see that narrow view. Well, you're not making me happy anymore. Therefore, it's all about me. I'm wasting my time with you. You're holding me back. You're not responding. You made mistakes. It's all the finger pointing. You.
Right.
And when we point the finger at somebody else, there's a great saying in recovery circles: when you point the finger at somebody else, there's three fingers pointing back at you.
Yes.
And so if I'm looking at a relationship and I'm coming up with the laundry list of all the things the other person did wrong, and maybe at some point I use those justifications as a reason to end the relationship, sometimes relationships have to end, and that's fine. But the tragedy, I feel, is when they end on a note of blame, because one, you're not learning anything if you can just blame the other person. Two, if you're just blaming the other person, then you're walking away with a very distorted view of where things shifted gears, and then that doesn't empower you for a future relationship, because guess what? All that same stuff, all those same lessons, they're going to come right back up again the next time, because you're not seeing yourself as part of the relationship.
Right. You take you to the next relationship. You take you with you into that next relationship. So if you're the same person, yes, and you're attracting the same person, you're just doing it all over again.
Right, and maybe the relationship really didn't have to end. You never know, because you never got that level of insight.
Yeah, I don't know about you. See if you agree with this, but I think that, our divorce rate is over 50% for first-time marriages. It's even higher for second or third marriages. But I really truly believe a couple of things. One is that not all marriages can last forever, but I think that a lot of the marriages that are ending because people really don't know how to create, my term is unstoppable relationships, but how to create that really good relationship that stands the test of time, that can grow, that can develop, that you can grow and develop together.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I look at, most people think relationship is about two people. I consider a relationship about three factors. Me, you, and the relationship becomes its own entity. And if you don't nurture that relationship, it's kind of like planting a garden and then not watering it. Well, don't be surprised when nothing grows there. Yes. And we have this disposable culture that sends this message out saying, hey, the minute something doesn't serve you, it's no good, throw it away and start over again. And that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I think that sometimes, too, we don't have the skills that we need. We really just aren't taught very good relationship skills. I was talking the other day with Dr. Business on his show, and we were discussing that it used to be relationships were simpler. You might not have even had a choice to who you married, but your choices were very limited. You sort of knew what your roles were. There was no option except to stay married. And not to say that that was better necessarily, but I think that it was simpler. Now, things are more complicated. We have more choices. Roles are different. There's so many things that are playing in. And I don't think we have really caught up and taught people through all of these changes how to be in relationships and how to stay in relationships. You're right. It's disposable. We just get out of it. So for me, I would like to see people seeking out a coach much, much sooner in their relationships. How do you feel about that?
I think that's a great idea, and I definitely agree with you. And that goes back to the idea of, the whole relationship arena is so different. And what I tell people when I'm coaching or when I'm doing workshops, I tell especially women, because I tend to work more with women than with men, and I tell people, look, it's not our fault. We had this wonderful women's liberation thing, which is awesome, and I wouldn't go backwards. I wouldn't say we should change that, but the fact remains, we have no template for how to have relationships. Our mothers, grandmothers, and aunts could not teach us what was not socially available when they were growing up. So we're making up the rules as we go, and when women, we're confused and the men are confused, and we're all confusing each other. So definitely, I think that there needs to be an open, honest conversation about the fact that, hey, it's wonderful that roles are changing and relationships are changing, but let's admit that we don't know something about it, and let's learn. Work it out.
Yes, and maybe seek help sooner. When your relationship is starting to feel like you are not growing or you're starting to grow apart, instead of just saying, well, this is as good as it gets, seek help for that. Read things. I have a book coming out in a couple of months now, and I wrote that book for exactly what you just said. We don't have a template for how to have relationships now. And so I decided to create a book that would give us that. So hopefully it will help. But so I would definitely encourage people to seek out the information online, seek out a coach, seek out someone. Angela and I are obviously great choices, but anything that you can do that's going to help you to learn what you need to build better relationships is very, very beneficial.
Absolutely. And I think people should also be a little discerning. I mean, part of my background is in social work. I was a therapist for a number of years. And unfortunately, there are some professionals who are caught up in the disposable culture momentum and do promote that message of, oh well, if he does this, then he's just no good, and you need to take care of yourself and yes, we do need to take care of ourselves, but when you hear messages even from so-called professionals that are sending this message of like, hey, just throw it away and move on, question that. I mean, ultimately,
Yes.
it's your life, and if you want to work on your relationship and you feel like the, quote, helpers are not helping you do that, look for your other options, because there are so many options out there.
Yes, yes. And Angela and I we would love for, before we go, Angela, speaking of us being able to be helpful, we're going to wrap this up with you giving them the information about how can they contact you, how can they go on your website, read more about what you have to offer, and learn more about you.
Okay, my website it's all one word, so I'll say it and then spell it. It's moonlighttarotllc.com. So that's moonlightttarotllc.com. It's a long one. My email address, I'll say that and then spell it. It's trionfi78@gmail.com. trionfi78@gmail.com. And I can be reached through social media as well. I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, but probably a little more active on LinkedIn at this point.
Okay, and if anybody ever feels like they can't, they can always contact me. I will get them the information. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Angela. This was great information for everybody, and I really enjoyed our time together.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And after the break, we will continue our discussion on dating myths. You're listening to Ask Lori, and I'm your host, Lori Ann Davis. You've tuned in to WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte.
I'm Peyton Manning, and I joined Nationwide because they put members first. And what's important to you is important to them.
What about my car?
Yep.
My retirement?
Uh-huh.
Our house?
Definitely. Protecting what you care about. Just another way Nationwide does it right. Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, Columbus, Ohio. Paid spokesperson, subject to underwriting guidelines and scales and availability vary.
Contact Nationwide agent Chance Perry for a free quote today. The only chance you want to take when protecting your business, life, and belongings. It's 704-554-5701. That's 704-554-5701. If you or a loved one are unable to venture easily from your home due to injury, illness, or disability, Compassion Salon Services can provide you with a rejuvenating hair salon service in the privacy and comfort of your own home. Please call 704-774-2204 for more information, or visit us on the web at compassionsalon.com. Compassion Salon Services for immobilized persons. We believe the enrichment of life lies through compassion for the soul. So call us at 704-774-2204. That's 704-774-2204 for your in-home salon services. Welcome back to WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte, and those streaming live through the free TuneIn radio app. You're listening to Ask Lori, and I'm your host, Lori Ann Davis. If you're just tuning in, we have been discussing dating myths. But first, if you would like help with finding, renewing, and keeping love and passion in your life, I am always here to help you. For more information, check out my website, lorianndavis.com. That's LORIANN Davis.com, where you can read my blogs, sign up for my newsletter, find out what events I have coming up, or follow me on social media. Or if you're in Charlotte, you can join my Successful Singles group. I'm here to help you create the relationship you have always wanted and deserved. You can also write in your questions or feel free to contact me through my email at wgivasklori@gmail.com. Today we're discussing dating myths. We've been discussing different kinds of dating myths and ideas on the show. Dating can be a frustrating experience sometimes, especially if you've been single for a period of time, or if you're back in the dating world after being out for a long period of time. That was my experience. Don't worry though, we're here to help you. So let's talk a little bit about another dating myth you might encounter. This one is the fairy tale myth. you believe that your ideal partner will just appear without you really having to do anything to attract them, to meet them. You think that maybe you can just stay in your house and they're going to knock on your door and there will be Prince Charming. So we all know that that's not necessarily the case. Or a similar myth that you can't find someone because there aren't very many men or women out there to choose from, or all the good ones are taking. This really is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You get disappointed and then you end up giving up. So I want to encourage you to know what you're looking for. Really take some time to figure out what it is you want. Then go out and be proactive in finding that partner. And remember, I'm always here to help you. You're not alone. You really do deserve to have the life you desire with that ideal partner. So let's find a way to make that happen for you. Join us next week when we reveal more secrets to finding, keeping, and renewing love and passion in your life, not only for the weekend, but for every day. We want to thank our guest today, Angela Kauffman, for all the wonderful information she had to share with us. And thank you, family, for tuning in. Continue to tune in every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. I am Lori Ann Davis, and you're listening to Ask Lori on WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte. Have a great weekend.
I'm Peyton Manning, and I joined Nationwide because they put members first. And what's important to you is important to them.
What about my car?
Yep.
My retirement?
Uh-huh.
Our house?
Definitely. Protecting what you care about. Just another way Nationwide does it right. Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio. Paid spokesperson. Subject to underwriting guidelines. Scales and availability vary.
Contact Nationwide agent Chance Perry for a free quote today. The only chance you want to take when protecting your business, life, and belongings. It's 704-554-5701. That's 704-554-5701. If you or a loved one are unable to venture easily from your home due to injury, illness, or disability, Compassion Salon Services can provide you with a rejuvenating hair salon service in the privacy and comfort of your own home. Please call 704-774-2204 for more information, or visit us on the web at compassionsalon.com. Compassion Salon Services for immobilized persons. We believe the enrichment of life lies through compassion for the soul. So call us at 704-774-2204. That's 704-774-2204 for your in-home salon services.